What's up guys, welcome to new Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Today I am going to show you how to create your first material. So I'm going to be covering the material graph basics. It's going to be a very easy one to follow, so let's get started. But first, if you are serious about learning and making your first game in Unreal Engine 5, join my Unreal Club. Inside, you will be able to download entire private files from my tutorials, enter private meetings and webinars with industry experts, access exclusive ebooks packed with the best tricks, get powerful asset frameworks to speed up your blueprints, and much more. The link is in the description. With that said, let's continue with the video. Alright, so first of all, to create any material, let's go into the content browser, right click and select material. Let's name this something as m_basic material or whatever you want, and open this up. Alright, so as you can see, for the material graph / editor, we have an actual graph which is kind of similar to blueprints because we're going to be using nodes, as you can see. So first things first, we have the actual material properties, okay, which if we just click on any point in the graph, you can see here on the details panel. Here's where you can just, put all the settings about the material. So in terms of the material domain, is it a surface, a decal, is it a volume, a post-process material, right? So what type of material it is, pretty much. The blend mode, you can go to opaque or make it masked, translucent for like glass and things like that. There's more options that you will probably not use in your life, but we also have the shading model. So default lit is just with lighting, but unlit is disabling lighting basically. There's a bunch of options for hair and water. It's pretty cool. And then if it's two-sided, and a bunch of more options which you don't really need to worry about. Maybe just nanite, which you can just enable from here, but that's pretty much it. Okay, the main settings that you will play around with will be this ones. Okay, now in this case we also have the default node with all the outputs. Okay, so this is what the material will end up with. Okay, the base color, metallic, specular, roughness, emissive color, normal, and so on. Okay, so these are all of the outputs about the parameters that the material will use to make it look a certain way. The base color is, as you might imagine, the color of the material itself. So right now, as you can see, it's white. Well, I could just click here and change it to be like, for example, yellow. As you can see now, it will update to be yellow. Now we have more options. For example, the metallic. This is how, well, like the name says, how metallic the material is. If I put this to 1, as you can see, it's more like metal, right? It's like reflecting a bit more in that way. And we can put like 0.3 to put something more in between and things like that. It's super easy to play around with this stuff. Specular, as you can see, just changes the amount of surfaces on the non-metallic materials. So this is really a thing that you can play around. Then we also have the roughness, which is one of the most common ones to play around. You put a high roughness, as you can see, it's not shining at all. And we put the roughness to like 0.2, it's more like metal, or if we put metal to 0, more like plastic. Okay, so with a combination of those 3 values, you can pretty much create any type of material that is available in real life. Okay, so you just need to balance those 3 to get what you want. And it's just easy if you have some textures, or it's a bit harder if you're gonna just have to play around with, but it's pretty simple. So you just main 4 parameters will really change how the material looks. Then we have things as the anisotropy. Just don't worry about that for now. We have then the emissive color, which is essentially how the material would look if it glowed. So for example, if I put this to white, as you can see, the material is glowing in a way. Okay, it's actually better if I go ahead and just make the emissive material like 5. You'll see that it's glowing now even more intensively, right? So emissive color is just the brightness of the material. Okay, so it's pretty cool to play around with that stuff. Then you put this back to black. Okay, so it's disabled. Then we got the normal. The normal is just the surface of the material. So if you had a texture of wood, you could plug in the normal map to here, and the lighting will reflect according to the direction of the surface. It's actually needed for photorealistic materials and things like that. Then we got a couple more which you don't need to worry about right now. For example, the wall position offset used to add some like height into the material and so on. But yeah, the others you will not need to worry about it at the beginning. Okay, so how do we actually create a cool material? Well, like I said, just by modifying these things over here, changing the metallic or whatever, and boom, we have a simple kind of yellow metal material, which is pretty cool. And I can drag this into whatever I want. So for example, if I were to drag a random chair and then drag this over here, now the chair will be made out of gold, it seems like, which is super cool. And I mean, it works. And it was super easy to make this material. But sometimes we want to have more details, or we want to have a pattern, for example, a wooden pattern. So how can we do this? Well, through textures. Okay, of course it really depends on the art style that you are looking for. Photorealistic materials will always require texture, and if you're doing more of a stylized, cartoony art style, you might get away with basic colors. It's really dependent on what you want. But in this case, let's make a simple wood material, okay, that looks pretty cool. So we need to add texture. So by just right clicking on a tiny point in the graph, we can find a texture sample. Okay, this node allows us to pick up any texture. So we select it, we go to the details panel, and here we can have a drop down and select the texture that we want. In this case, I already have some wood textures from the started content. So if you don't have the started content, just go to add feature or content pack, content, and add, and then if you search for wood, you will find some wood materials over here, or textures. Now we have a couple of them. Let's just, for example, select the first one. Okay, boom, we have a simple wooden texture. And now what we can do is get the RGB output, which is red, green, and blue, and plug that into the base color. And boom, as you can see, the texture is projected into the material. So if I now apply and save this, you will see that in my chair, I have now the wooden pattern. And that doesn't look very good just yet because there's more things to modify. For example, as I was mentioning, the metallic, the specular, and so on. In this case, wood is not metallic, so we want to put this on 0. And as you can see, we got a shining wood, which is pretty cool, and it looks more like actual wood. Now, maybe if it's too shiny, I can just change the specular and the roughness. So the roughness, for example, to put it like 0.8. As you can see now, it doesn't shine so more. It looks more like just kind of dry wood or something. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, just a different type of wood. And you can just play around with these things to get what you want. But additionally, we also have the option to add textures for this metallic, roughness, specular, normal, and all this kind of things. Okay, you don't only depend on the main base color for a texture, you can apply it to anything. So in this example, if we go to sorry content, materials, and open up the first wood material, you can see that it has a bunch of stuff to use to make the wood material feel as realistic as possible. But if you take a look at this, right, we are using the red output of the texture as the specular. For the roughness, we are simply using the red output of this other texture, which is the specular and roughness and things like that, right? And the same for the normal, we are just lerping from 2 different textures. In this case, this is the normal texture. Okay, so yeah, there's a bunch of nodes here, and probably what I just showed you didn't make a lot of sense. But if we just get these 2 nodes basically, okay, and paste them here, I can now use them for the material outputs. They're gonna be super realistic. So for example, for the normal map, which is the one that we copied over here, we just get the RGB and plug it into the normal. Okay, and this will just tell the lighting how to reflect on the surface. Okay, that's what the normal map does. And then for the other ones, well, we can get the red for the specular, and then also the red for the roughness in this one. As you can see now, the wood is like shining, right? So instead of having a default value, we just have an actual texture on how the wood should kind of look. As you can see, it looks quite more realistic, which is quite cool. And now basically, I think it was a bit confusing when I started dragging, from the red channel over here, but on here is RGB and here is RGB. But like, why do we have different outputs? Well, that's just because the textures are built in that way. But if you were making your own textures, maybe you would just make, 4 individual textures instead of 3 or even 5, right? And have it all from the RGB. If we take a look at this textures, for example, you can see the RGBA over here. if I start to disable them, they look different. As you can see, one is just the blocks, one is just the, I think the specular or something. The green has this. It's just like different. It's just different textures on one texture. And why is this done? Well, just to improve performance and not have 20 textures for one material. It's just to organize things. But not gonna lie, at the start, I do recommend to have different textures for each one. Is just gonna be way simpler for you guys. But yeah, we created our own wooden material, and of course we can, you know, apply this into whatever we want. For example, this one over here, pretty cool as you can see. Now, if you want to change the size of the wood material in here, what we can do is just get the UVs and add a texture coordinate node. Okay, and we can plug this texture coordinate to all the UVs, and this allows us, okay, to change the tiling of the material, in this case the texture specifically. So I put this to 0.2 in X and Y. So you can see the wooden material got way bigger, okay, and maybe in here it looks a bit better, but yeah, it even blurs it out, right? But if I go the opposite way, I put this 5 and 5, you can see now that it got way smaller, right? As you can see, there's more detail and it's just way smaller. So it's really a thing that you have to find out to balance. I think maybe 2 could look pretty neat on here, but yeah, it's just playing around again to see the values that you like. And you can see that there's a bunch of nodes that you kind of have to memorize. The most important ones are always going to be texture sample, which is going to allow you to add a texture into the material, and then the texture coordinate, which allows you to change the scaling of the texture. Okay, that's really the combo that you need. Now, additionally, you can search for a scalar parameter. So you can create, for example, the, you know, brightness, if I know how to type. Okay, and plug that brightness value into the emissive color, as I mentioned before. Okay, and this has a value of 0, but if I were to put 2, as you can see now, shines. Now it isn't shining with the wood color, so I can just get the RGB and multiply this by the brightness. And now if I plug that into the emissive color, you can see that now the wood is glowing itself with the wood material still, you know, and it looks quite weird. So let's delete this, but it's just an example, right? So yeah, scalar parameters, as I mentioned, is also pretty cool, and you can use them for whatever you want. Boom, boom, boom. Here, it doesn't matter, you know. I could even expand this and change this here. It's really up to you, you know. But that's really the combo that you will need at the start. So that's it, guys. If you found this video helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. Join my Unreal Club if you are serious about learning Unreal Engine 5. And now, yes, with all that said, bye bye.